Hear what steps Alabama lawmakers are taking to save lives.
Yeah, that truck, U-Haul truck, like you couldn't even wheel up.
It was a wild ride. Neighbors in one Atlanta community will be talking about for days. See what happens when a man steals a U-Haul and the unbelievable police chase that followed.
Coverage you can count on. This is WTVM Newsleader 9, celebrating 65 years. Sponsored by Montlick & Associates.
Good evening. Welcome to Newsleader 9 at 11. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
We start with breaking news in Russell County. There was heavy police presence on Will Avenue earlier tonight. This is south of Highway 80 near Phoenix City. Calls came in at around 9:30.
And you're looking right now at the scene. One person was taken away from the scene in an ambulance. We have crews there gathering more information. Stick with Newsleader 9 on air and online for the latest updates on this developing story.
Turning now to our weather, clear and cold all around the Chattahoochee Valley tonight after a pretty nice Thursday. Here's a live look right now from our Alpha Insurance Skycam out at Uptown Columbus.
And things could even get to even nicer for your Friday. Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid in the Storm Team 9 Alert Center with more for us.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think the warming trend really going to be the story here over the next few days. Right now, 40 in the Fountain City. It's also 40 in Montgomery and Atlanta, Macon 32. There are some local spots, of course, already in the 30s, but we're just not as cold as we were last night at this time. And looking at the satellite and radar view, a few passing clouds. That's about it. That's all we're going to see for tonight. And really our Friday starting out very chilly, but with some sun and some clouds. By the afternoon, though, we're in the 60s, and we're going to keep warming up from there over the weekend and into next week. We'll talk a bit more about it in full forecast in just a bit for you.
All right, Derek, thank you. The nation is in the grips of an opioid crisis, and states are working to keep it from getting worse.
Tonight, we're getting a closer look at Alabama agencies, what they're doing to fight back. Newsleader 9's Lydia Nussbaum has more details.
You know, I'm one of those people who trained, 25 years ago.
He says doctors were taught narcotics weren't as addictive.
And weren't as troublesome and could be used for chronic pain. And now we know that that's just not correct.
And now states are trying to combat the opioid crisis as thousands suffer from addiction in the country. And several state agencies are working to stop this. The Alabama Department of Public Health asked lawmakers for $100,000 to keep the prescription drug monitoring program updated and running.
Alabama is still close to the top in terms of total number of prescriptions, although we've improved a lot.
The health department is also working with leaders to come up with a system to gather accurate data on opioid overdoses and deaths. The Medicaid department is also taking steps to stop the opioid crisis. Medicaid now only allows a 7-day supply of opioids for some adults and a 5-day supply of opioids for some children.
We've added certain Edit Star system that will help ensure that people aren't getting more medication than they need to have in instances where they don't need it.
Medicaid will launch its new health network system in October, which connects people with the resources they need in their region.
Is to really assess those opioid situations and patients and refer them to proper treatment.
Lydia Nussbaum, WTVM Newsleader 9.
Now, other agencies like the Department of Mental Health also involved in this effort.
They have a Stepping Up initiative that makes sure people with serious mental illness or drug problems get the help they need if they run into trouble with the law.
A man is dead following a car accident with a Columbus City vehicle that happened today. Police say a silver Mercedes and a city trash truck collided on River Road near Willett Drive on the city's north side. The coroner's office confirming to us 63-year-old James Gibson was pronounced dead at the hospital after that accident. Gibson was driving the Mercedes.
What we've got is just a two-vehicle accident on River Road just north of Willett. One vehicle is pulling out of a private drive onto River Road, another vehicle traveling southbound on River Road when impact occurred.
As far as the circumstances, it's still not clear which vehicle was on River Road and which one was pulling out of the private drive. Lieutenant Deaton, who you just heard from, says the driver of the city vehicle was not injured. Newsleader 9 will continue to follow this developing story.
Well, 4 suspects are in police custody following that armed robbery at a Columbus T-Mobile. We told you about it last night. The initial robbery taking place at about 7 o'clock at that store on Veterans Parkway. After that, police chased the suspects to Harris County, where they sent out a code red warning locals to be aware of the danger. Officials reportedly spotted a vehicle connected to the robbery, and that's when they say a foot chase started to capture the suspects. 2 of those suspects are already back in Columbus. The other 2 will be brought to the Muskogee County Jail to join the other suspects.
East Alabama officials building a bigger case tonight after multiple warrants were executed at 5 daycares and also the houses of their owners. The warrants were issued after allegations of public assistance fraud. Well, that's when a business or person provides false information to receive government or state benefits. According to the Lee County District Attorney, 2 separate couples with family ties own the daycare locations and could face jail time if the evidence collected leads to arrests.
Well, what we're aware of going in, all I can say is a very significant amount of money. I mean, this is a big operation. I mean, it's more than just a few hundred or even a few $1,000s.
No arrests have been made and all daycare locations are remaining open for now. Opelika police say they do anticipate charges being filed in the coming weeks.
A wild police chase in Atlanta was caught on camera when a stolen U-Haul went airborne. Police believe 19-year-old Christopher Arline stole the truck from the U-Haul facility on Candler Road in DeKalb County. An officer said he saw the vehicle driving suspiciously moments before the chase began. Over the several-mile pursuit, officers said Arline nearly hit 2 officers who tried to stop him. The video was captured by a home surveillance video.
I came outside and I was like, oh, whoa. There's a U-Haul over there, and it was all the way at the top of the hill, and there's cops everywhere. It's crazy. I just couldn't believe that happened.
Well, police records show it was one of 13 stolen vehicles from a single Atlanta U-Haul location in just the past 3 months. Police said they found nothing inside the truck after stopping the suspect. For neighbors, it is a chase they will not soon forget.
Well, Fox 5 in Atlanta is reporting rescue crews in DeKalb County pulled a girl from a creek near an apartment complex this afternoon. Firefighters reportedly called in a dive team to search for the 6-year-old girl. Rescue officials said they pulled that girl from the creek, rushing her to the hospital a little before 5 o'clock today. And WGCL in Atlanta reporting that girl died after getting to the hospital.
Well, hitting the pool may seem far off this time of year, but Columbus Parks and Rec officials already gearing up and proposing some changes at 2 local public pools. The proposal would change the pools at both the Salmon Recreation Center and Shirley B. Winston Center into splash pads. The changes would cost $2 million per pool. City will continue to maintain 2 outdoor pools and the Columbus Aquatic Center.
We pay a lot of taxes, and it's really disappointing for that facility to be closed. I'm paying for it, but nothing to show for it. So anything that would allow, it to open, allow my kids to use the facility would be nice.
Well, to assess the existing problems, it will cost $30,000 per pool just to get the ball rolling. Now, these changes, if approved, would not be ready, though, by this summer. City of Columbus plans to have the Summer Fun Pass again this summer, which allows free entrance to the pools in addition to other facilities and cultural events.
Well, tomorrow is the official grand opening of Pita Mediterranean Street Food's 2nd Columbus location.
And anyone who stops by the new spot on Macon Road, well, they're offering all their best sellers for free. The operators say they won't be holding back.
So this is our 2nd location. Midtown always needed a different options. So when you look at it, you're so used to fast food and so on. So this is more of a fresh food, fresh food that's fast.
Now that new location again is on Macon Road between the library and Interstate 185.
Coming up here on the news at 11, a terrifying hostage situation plays out in Arizona with a prison librarian. We have surveillance video and sound from the standoff.
Plus a sit-down interview with the new Alabama senator about his time on Capitol Hill so far and what he hopes to do in the future for the Yellowhammer State.
Tonight, President Trump's digging in on his fight for a border wall, calling out House Speaker Nancy Pelosi while the bipartisan negotiations for funding border security continues. The powerful pair engaging in a back and forth, both defiant.
White House officials say the president continues to make preparations for a national emergency order to get that wall built. And over 3,000 active duty troops will be deployed to the southern border in addition to the 2,300 troops already there. Multiple defense officials telling CNN.
An Arizona inmate serving more than a 90-year sentence tries to escape taking a librarian hostage. Situation all caught on surveillance video. Inmate Timothy Monk pulling a makeshift knife on librarian Alan Hartzell. Hartzell fighting back with pepper spray.
Well, officers ended up surrounding the outside of the library, began negotiating with Monk, then sneak a phone inside the room, getting a better look at the situation.
It's recording.
I told him, with me, I'm going to show you how bad I am.
Well, eventually the pepper spray becoming too much, officers quickly move in using a flashbang as a distraction.
Now, Monk was already serving a 97-year sentence. He now faces new charges for this hostage incident.
Wow. The National Transportation Safety Board wants to find out what caused this deadly bus crash in Florida, but the agency was not able to send a team immediately afterwards due to the partial government shutdown.
The 8-member team will do a safety investigation of the highway where the accident happened. 7 people died and 8 others were hurt in the January 3rd crash in Gainesville, Florida.
As Alabama's Democratic Senator Doug Jones kicks off his second year of work on Capitol Hill, the underdog leader weighs in about his time in office so far.
He'll soon have to think about keeping his seat in the traditional red state as he's up for re-election in 2020. Our Washington Bureau's Elena Austin sits down with the senator about what's next.
I can't concern myself about politics in general. I haven't from the day I got here.
As the political world buzzes over a future re-election battle just around the corner, Democratic Senator Doug Jones says he's focused on working hard for Alabamians.
I've been an independent voice for the people of Alabama.
In a divisive time on Capitol Hill, Jones says there's a lot of strong bipartisan work that doesn't get enough attention. Jones hopes to follow in the footsteps of his late mentor, Alabama's last Democratic Senator, Howell Heflin.
And that is a picture of me and Heflin when I was staffing in him at a judiciary hearing, and they had one of these nameplates made for me, and Senator Capito drew my name as Secret Santa and gave me one from Senator Heflin. That is just the coolest thing. I'm really happy to be in his seat.
Jones says since taking office a year ago, he's proud of fighting for jobs, children's health insurance coverage, and relief for farmers hit by disastrous weather.
I'm just humbled to be here every day as an exciting day, to be here, to hear from the folks from the state of Alabama, and to do things that make a difference.
But Jones's legislative priorities on Capitol Hill will have to take a back seat until Congress can resolve the debate at the border. Jones says he supports tougher security, but he thinks a wall end-to-end would not work. In 2 weeks, lawmakers will have to strike a deal or the government could be shut down again. In Washington, Alana Austin, WTVM Newsleader 9.
Now, from your Storm Key 9 Alert Center, WTVM Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid.
Well, if you're out and about early tomorrow morning, you'll have a chance to see 3 planets in the morning sky, Jupiter, Venus, and Saturn, just before sunrise, around dawn or so. So about 45 minutes before the sun pops up, look out to the southeastern sky. You'll be able to check that out. But it will be chilly for you. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s again in the early morning hours. By the afternoon, we're in the low 60s. We'll see a mix of clouds and sun for our Friday, but we do expect things to stay dry. Right now, 40 in the Fountain City. It's 32 already in LaGrange, 32 at Fort Benning. So yeah, we are cooling down tonight, but the trend is not as cold as last night. So 4 degrees warmer right now in LaGrange than it was 24 hours ago. About 9 degrees warmer here in the Fountain City compared to this time yesterday. So good news there if you're not a fan of the cold temperatures anymore. And even the folks up to the north that have been suffering with some really cold weather lately. I mean, Chicago right now, 1 below 0. That's a heat wave compared to what they were seeing yesterday. So things are going to improve up here. Things are going to improve in the south as well as we tap into some warmer air here in the coming days. At the moment, we're watching some rain down to the south, some thicker clouds too down here for us. But I think over the next day or so, we're really not going to tap into any rain. We may see some of those clouds work their way in tonight, into the day tomorrow, perhaps into the weekend too. But the forecast dry tomorrow. Saturday will mention a slim risk of a shower. Sunday, a slightly better chance of a passing shower. So if you have outdoor plans, maybe you're firing up the grill for the big game or have some travel plans somewhere, know that there may be some rain around. I'd have the umbrella ready to go just in case. Now for tonight, lows back down for most of us in the 30s or perhaps the upper 20s. By noon tomorrow, we're at 53. By the afternoon, we're in the low 60s here in the Fountain City. Over in East Alabama, they should see highs tomorrow afternoon in the upper 50s after a very chilly start. But once again on Friday, some sun and clouds at times during the day. Now next week, the 70s are back. Notice Tuesday, Wednesday, and even into Thursday, we really warm things up around here. Some stormy weather not out of the question late next week, too. We're going to watch that carefully for you in the forecast, guys.
All righty. We won't mind those 70s, though, when they get here, for sure.
It should be all right. I may have to turn the old AC on next week.
Yeah, it'll change for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Derek.
Well, firefighters north of here, though, they're battling more than fires in their extreme cold weather. Coming up, see the extra gear and precautions they're taking in Chicago.
Plus, we take a trip to Hell, Michigan. Meet the people who live in hell as the brutal cold brings the last type of weather that you would expect in a place with that kind of name.
Now to the continued Arctic blast all across the country. 40 million people trapped in sub-zero temperatures. At least 13 deaths now blamed on the cold. Tonight, police investigating the death of 18-year-old University of Iowa student Gerald Bells.
The pre-med major discovered outside a campus building in negative 51-degree wind chill. He did not survive. His father saying he wanted to be a cardiologist. Across the Midwest, the cold shattering records. And with all that, dangers multiplied. Wind chills in Chicago hitting 41 below today. For firefighters, temperatures that cold present additional concerns with frozen faces and 75 pounds of gear. They are covered in ice.
And because minutes outside of these sub-zero temperatures, that can mean frostbite or hypothermia. People, of course, have to rotate in those jobs like this, and that's why Chicago Fire is bringing an extra engine on every run.
Equipment freezing up. We've got ladders that are frozen. We've got hose that's frozen. We can't put the hose back on the rig. We have to put it, we have to roll it up and take it back home and thaw it out and put fresh hose on. Even when they're done working here, they still got a couple hours of work when they get back to get ready for the next one.
And the calls keep coming in, some because people are taking issue related to the deep freeze into their own hands. Officials are taking the chance to remind everyone to call a professional if something freezes. And they say it is very dangerous to leave an oven door open for heating, especially with a gas-powered oven. Well, 16 is a sacred number at Marin Catholic High School in Green Bay, California. The last person to wear the jersey was LA Rams quarterback Jared Goff.
He is preparing now for Sunday's Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, and he's got plenty of hometown support.
Ever since he was been here, he has always been very polite, very responsible, and just very kind.
Well, Goff was selected by the Rams with the first overall pick of the 2016 NFL Draft.
On one of the lakes in hell. So yeah, not only is it a cold day in hell, hell has frozen over.
Well, right now might be a good time to take a gamble on an unlikely scenario. If it doesn't have a snowball's chance, bet on it, because not only is there snow in hell, it has literally frozen over. This is Hell, Michigan. So cold, in fact, that it's actually shut down some businesses for the next couple of days.
A saloon in hell is proving to be a valuable community service in this weather crisis, and the regular visitors have heard all those sayings about their town, and they love them all.
Our Wi-Fi password is go to hell, so when people ask what's your Wi-Fi, go to hell.
You hear new ones every day.
Yeah, until a kid asks you, and then you're like, G-O-T-O.
But down here, you know, we feel like we got our own little slice of hell.
Stay warm, guys.
Well, if you want to go to hell too, you can find it in Michigan, about 15 miles northwest of Ann Arbor.
And if you're looking for a break from the cold, you can head to Paradise, Michigan, a balmy 1 degree there today.
Some folks might say they've been there and it's nowhere near Michigan.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
Coming up, time to heat things up, at least on the baseball diamond.
Yes, CSU set to open the season tomorrow. We're going to hear from the third-ranked Cougars. Dave's up next with sports.
WTVM Sports Leader 9, Dave Platt.
It's almost that time. Opening weekend almost here for the Columbus State Cougars as they begin the quest for one more win to capture what just eluded them last season, the national championship. Expectations high for the Cougs this time around. Those defending national runner-ups going into the season ranked third in the nation in Division II. One big reason is the return of All-American right-hander Colton Ingram. Of course, that is only one part of the equation. The Cougars also returned 6 of their 9 starting position players. I mean, those guys boast some pretty solid gloves. And they're bringing back some big bats as well. And Grant Berry, Frank Wager, and Robert Brooks, those three combined for 36 homers in 2018. A serious threat to put some runs on the board in a hurry.
We got a big heart of the order, and we got a lot of guys that can be interchanged and bring a lot of pieces to the puzzle, so we can work different ways. If we're struggling in others, we can keep it going, so it's exciting.
We've always had a power bat lineup, and I'd say we returned a lot of power bats and even added some new power bats. I think we're going to depend on a little bit more speed this year, a little bit more speed and contact.
It all begins tomorrow. The Cougars host West Alabama in the season opening series. First pitch Friday, 4 Eastern, Ragsdale Field for the opener. Doubleheader on Saturday starts at 1. All right, college basketball for you. The Auburn women on the road taking on Ole Miss tonight. Tigers coming out fast. Unique Thompson, a big night. In the paint for 2 of her 20 points. She'd also have a dozen rebounds. Aaron Howard lines it from the perimeter and drains it. Auburn with an opening 11-2 run. Ole Miss responds, though. Chandrika Sessum, she fires up from three-point range, part of her 16-point night. Ole Miss taking a 16-15 lead, but then Auburn just takes things over. Great ball movement here. Crystal Prim finishing things off as the Tigers take a 6-point lead. And in the third quarter, they put it away. Daisha Alexander from outside the arc. It makes it a 20-point game. Tigers go on to win it 64-51. The Missouri Tigers just took a thumping from the NCAA. 3 years probation for football, softball, and baseball, plus scholarship reductions, fines,